we spoke about the different tribal forces within Israel, but we really focused on two, Yosef and Yehuda, these two leadership tribes that are fundamentally different from one another, and Binyamin, the future that they're fighting over, the next generation, what the nation will be, what is its trajectory. But it's also important to note that there are several other tribal identities, specifically satellite tribes that these two leadership tribes have. Now, for Yosef, the main satellite tribe is the tribe of Dan, which is probably best represented by the type of Israeli who votes for a Palestinian party on election day, or the type of diaspora Jew who gets involved in the BDS movement. Like, that's the tribe of Dan. But the tribe of Dan is very important, and we want to keep them with us because they play an important role. In fact, according to the most widely held midrash on how Esav was killed, he was killed by Hushim ben Dan. So even though the prophet Ovadia tells us it's Yosef who will destroy Esav, and also Rashi says when Yosef is born, Yaakov understands he can now confront Esav because the power to be like Esav exists within Israel. Practically speaking, it might actually be Dan who destroys the civilization of Esav. Now, Yehuda has a number of satellite tribes, specifically Shimon and Levi. Both are considered extreme expressions of Yehuda. They more or less subscribe to the worldview of Yehuda, to the values of Yehuda. And we can even say that, Levi, at least with Levi is like an intellectual or spiritual equal to Yehuda, except for the fact that although they share the same Torah and the same worldview and the same goals, I think what really separates between Levi and Yehuda is that Yehuda is more able to recognize the positive contributions of the other tribes. And that's precisely why Yehuda is a leadership tribe meant to unite all the other forces, whereas Levi might be more interested in kind of making all the other tribes more like Levi and Yehuda. Now, within Levi, you have 4 sub-tribes, just like Yosef has 2 sub-tribes, Ephraim and Menashe. Levi has 4. You have Gershon, Kahat, Merari, and you have the Kohanim. And the Kohanim represent the most concentrated form of the tribal attributes of Levi. And in ancient times, the Kohanim would do most of the primary work in the Mishkan and in the tabernacle and in the temples in Jerusalem. And the role of the Kohen, aside from the work in the temple, was really to inspire Israelis to want to be on mission, to want to connect to the Creator, to want to participate in all of the things that we're meant to do, and to really kind of present a show that could very effectively rival the pageantry that was often expressed by a lot of ancient idolatrous cults. So the Kohanim, today we might call them Kiruv rabbis. They were very much doing outreach and trying to really inspire Jews, whether on the battlefield, like with the war priest who would go out to war with the soldiers and inspire them to really fight ferociously for the honor of the Creator against our enemies, or the priests working in the temple, the Kohanim working in the temple, who would just kind of put on a good show with the outfits and the smells and the sounds and the music coming from the Levi'im and all of that would really kind of be very much in competition with the idolatrous cults and the different practices and music and smells and maybe even drugs associated with a lot of those idolatrous cults. Now, today, we can say that these spiritual forces don't necessarily manifest in Jews biologically. Like, I'm a Kohen, I'm biologically from the tribe of Levi, but it could be that I'm an expression of the force of Yehuda in this world, or it could be I'm an expression of the force of Yisachar in this world. Yisachar, by the way, we could look at as the Haredim today. Those who are really focused on learning and teaching Torah, but don't really get involved in political or national or historical issues so much. But it could be I represent a different tribal force that I'm biologically descended from in today's world. But the Maccabim The Matityahu, Hashmonai, and his 5 sons, Yochanan, Shimon, Yehuda, Elazar, and Yonatan, they were Kohanim from the tribe of Levi, and it's not by accident that salvation came from them, that they were the main protagonists in liberating Judea from foreign rule and leading the cultural war against those trying to Hellenize and Westernize Judean society.